Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So now today we are going to discuss regarding the interthread communication with condition. Right? So we had already seen regarding the interthread communication with the event, right? Events was the topic which we have seen in the previous video only. Now today we'll be discussing about the condition. We'll be seeing about the interthread communication with the condition. Right? So first of all, let me quickly give you a revision that what we just understand from the interthread communication. So that actually means that when we want to like when we just require two threads at a particular time, when basically there is some requirement and we want to use two threads at a time, so in that case this interthread communication is the procedure that is used, right? Let me just show you that thing as well here. Okay, just one second, let me just show you that out. Fine, this was the one. And okay, so that was event, right? This was the event. Fine. So here basically we had seen regarding sometimes one thread may be required to communicate to another thread depending on the requirements, and this is considered as interthread communication. So when one thread wants to communicate with the another thread which has basically some requirements, so in that case basically interthread communication is required, right? This was the thing that we have already discussed. Now we'll be discussing regarding the condition method actually. Okay, so the condition method is basically the upgradation of that event object which is used for inter-thread communication. Let's say when you want to upgrade something. Okay, actually condition is a type of method which is used for the upgradation of that event object which is used for the inter-thread communication. Right, this is the whole idea regarding the condition method. So the condition represents some type of state change between the threads. When you just want to have some state change between the threads, so in that case, this condition is the method, this condition is the function which is actually used in that case. Right, so I hope that first of all you have got an idea that what is the inter-thread communication, and secondly you have got the idea regarding the condition method, and now it will be more clear to you as soon as we write out the program for this, right? So let's proceed on here. Okay, first of all, what I would just do is that I would be importing out the random module here, because random is a module which I'll be actually using throughout the program. So I just want to import that particular module here, right? After random, I'll be importing the time module as well. So I would just write import time. Fine, these are the two modules which I'll be using throughout my program, random and the time. Fine, now next what I would just do is that I want to use out this function that is condition, right? So in that case, what I can just do is that I can take the threading module, and from that threading module I can import each and everything which I am having into that threading module, right? And we all know that how to just do that thing, right? So for doing out that thing, I can just write from threading. So from threading, import and asterisk. This is the procedure how we just import out each and every function from the threading module, right? Import from threading, import asterisk, right? This is the way how we just do that out. So I have just written that particular thing here. Okay, this is the idea. Now what I would just do is that I would be making out a class. Okay, so I'll be making out a class, and then within that class I'll be making out the object, writing out the statements and using out this condition method. Fine. Now basically what I would just do here is that I would be, okay, let's say my class name is, student. Okay, student is actually my class name. Fine. Come on to a new line, and here I'll be making out the function. So first of all, the function is name. Okay, name is actually first function which I am making. So inside the self is automatically passed. Self is one of the constructors which we have here in the class and objects. And as soon as you make out any of the method, or you can just call it as function as well. So when you just make out any of the function inside the class, so basically the self is the module which is automatically passed out here. Okay, you do not need to write that thing on your own. Fine. So the self has been passed. Now what I would just do here is that I would be writing condition underscore object dot acquire. I'll be using out the acquire function here. Now what is this condition underscore object? So for that I would just come down here inside my main function. I would just write out my main function, and inside that I would define out this condition underscore. Okay, I would just not define that inside the main function. Let me define it outside only. Okay, I would just write here condition underscore object, and that is actually equal to my condition function which I have here, condition method, which I am actually trying to use out here. Right, so I have just done that same particular thing here, condition underscore object dot acquire. Fine, I would just come out here, I would just use one of my printf statements. Fine, so that printf statement is that, let's say name for the student is, and let's say here I would just write, let's say ABC. I just take out some random name, okay? Let's say the name for the student is ABC. Fine, now what I would just do is that with the help of that condition underscore object, I will put out a dot here, and here I'll be putting out the weight function. Okay, so condition underscore object dot weight. This is actually how we just write it. So now here what actually I have done, I had put on my thread into our waiting state. Okay, fine. Come on to a new line, and I would just write here, let's say print, and let's have it just write that name successfully. Okay, okay, that is successfully. Okay, name successfully added. Let's say this is a new admission which has come onto a school, and in that I just routed the name, that name for the student is ABC. So after that it has basically waited out for some time, and then it printed me that name successfully added. Okay, and now what I would just do is that, as I have used out the acquire function above, in the same way I'll be using out the release function, and now I would be just releasing it out. So I would just write here condition underscore object dot release, and I would put out the bracket like this. Okay, so this is how we just made out the very first function. Fine. Now let me make out the second function here. Okay, so first function was name, and let's say now my second function is, let's say okay, let's say marks. Okay, let's say this is the second function. Okay, now what I would just do here is that, again I'll be starting with the condition condition underscore object dot acquire. Okay, so I just first of all used out this acquired functions to acquire some state. So this condition underscore object dot acquire, after that I can just use out one of my print statements, that checking the marks. Okay, whenever we just like go in like for taking any admission in a college or school, so we just always have a entrance test, right? So I would just write checking the marks. Okay, checking the marks. Fine, this statement is completed. Now what I would just do here is that, let's say I will be taking a mod random that is time is equal to 0, a function. You can just call this time as a variable. Okay, that's the reason that I have imported a time module above. Okay, now here I'll be writing time. Okay, so time is equal to, I'll be writing here random dot rand int. Okay, random dot rand int, and into the bracket I'll be passing here, let's say 1 comma 20. Okay, so between 1 comma 20 some random marks would be actually coming. Okay, and instead of this time, let me just write. Okay, so marks, let's say this is done, and instead of marks, let me make it out the appointment underscore time. Okay, when we just go on to take any admission in the school, so in that case we just need to take out first of all appointment, right? Then you can just meet out the principal or the head of that particular school. So let's say this is the same particular thing. Okay, now I would just write here print, and okay, just one another second, right here print, and I would just write here checking the time. Okay, print checking the time, and after that I would just write here one another print statement. Inside that I would just write that time appointed to you is, okay, let me calm down so that you are actually able to see. So the time appointed to you is, and I would just put out these brackets, this closing, and let's say PM. PM, right this. Okay, and I will just put out a dot here, and after this I'll be using out the format function, and inside that format I'll be passing out the variable that is time. Right, so I have just done out that particular thing. Now what I would just do is that I'll be writing condition underscore object dot notify, one of the functions which I have in this threading module, right, that I have just used out here. And after that I just again use condition underscore object dot release. So above I have just acquired that, now I am just releasing that thing here, right? So that particular things I have done out. Now what's this next thing? Next thing, I have already made this condition function, you already used that out. Now I'll be making the object for my class. Okay, now I'll be making some object for my class. Okay, so let's say object for my class. Okay, what's my class name? That is a student, fine. So let's say, okay, 1. Let's say 1 is the name for my object and the class name is student, and put out the brackets like this. Right, class name, oh sorry, object name has already been made. Now I'll be using my threads. I'm making out my 2 threads. So T1 is equal to, I'll be using here thread. Okay. So that is thread, and into the bracket I have target is equal to, and what's my target? So that is 1 dot, and first of all I was having the function which is name, 1 dot name. Okay. My thread 2. T2 is equal to, I'll be writing here thread, in the bracket I'll be writing here target is equal to 1 dot, and here I'll be passing the another one, appointment. Let me come down, appointment time. Okay, appointment time, my another function. Fine. Now I would just start both of the threads. T1 dot start, and after that I have T2 dot start. Right, and now I would just run out my program here. So run, and basically here just will be getting out the answer. Fine, your final output will be displayed onto this window only. Okay, so the name for the student is ABC. Now basically after this it will result be some other things whatever we are actually having here. Okay, so instead of this 20, let me just write it out here as 13. Okay, just 1 second, I just made out the changes. Let me rerun that thing. Okay, fine. And okay, instead of this small t, let me just make, okay, this one is absolutely fine. Okay, let it be like this only. I would run this once again here. Fine, so I just got that the name for the student is ABC, right? Now after that, this name for the student is ABC. After this it is waiting, right? So it is written at condition underscore object dot wait. So as soon as the wait is finished, it will basically give me the second statement, that is name successfully added, right? Now after that it will give me that checking. Okay, add. Okay, just one second, let me close this once again here, because I am just going to make one more change here. So this has been made as a change here, and now I would just try to run it. Right, so basically here I'll be running out the program. I just want to make one of the changes here. Let me just remove this and let me just write out class underscore obj. Actually this is the name which actually runs here. Let me just write that here as well, and let me write out that here as well. And we do not put out these brackets whenever we are just calling the function inside the target, this thing. Okay, so let me remove out both of these. Okay. Now I would just try to run this here once again, and here we just get out the whole answer, that is name for the object is ABC, checking the marks, checking the time. So your time appointment appointed to you is 6 p.m. Name successfully added, right? This is how it will actually run out the things for me, right? So name for the student is ABC, checking the marks, after that checking the time. So time appointment appointed to you is 6 p.m. and at last the name is successfully added. Right, so I hope that you have got the idea regarding the interthread communication with condition. Okay, this is how we just use out this condition method for writing out the programs, writing out the things like this. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.